Welcome to episode 33 of Shane Talks 99, another Wednesday release, August 4th, 1999, Wednesday. I like Dick. Do you like Dick? You want to talk about Dick? Dick is a lot of dumb fun. And Dick uses Dick jokes to make Dick funny-ish for the most part. That's a lot of Dick to talk about right there, and we're going to talk about Dick some more. So remember, this movie about Dick is the movie where Mary Jane Watson makes out with Deadpool. We'll get to that in a little bit. This was a Wednesday release. Saw Kirsten Dunst and Michelle Williams play two blonde hippie chicks. Pretty much stereotypical, what the 90s thought that the 70s, chicks were like. Pretty much to perfection. And in this year, like there was a lot of teenage sex stuff going on, and this film tried to be a part of it. But truth be told, my personal opinion is they kind of missed it by being a PG-13 movie. Like, I really wonder if this was ever considered to be an R-rated movie, like what it could have been if there was ever that discussion, or I mean, if there was ever an R-rated script of it, like how much farther they would have taken stuff than they ended up doing. Like, I don't know if this movie was made specifically for the kids that couldn't make it into like American Pie, but watching it, I just get that can't hardly wait vibe. Like this would be so much better if it wasn't rated PG-13. So I don't know. I'll never know. What we got is an okay, pretty funny, enjoyable movie about two chicks that stumble their way into the life of Richard Nixon in the middle of the Watergate scandal. They eventually take up the moniker of Deep Throat. It's like a alternate reality type thing, imagine like a Quentin Tarantino type movie where like in this reality, these girls became Deep Throat. Once they feel betrayed by the president, they start talking to Woodward and Bernstein, like like a historical reimagining movie, done as a comedy. Oh, and like I just mentioned, Bernstein. Let's go on a little side tangent real quick because while I was doing my research for this movie, I found out something that I think is pretty interesting about him. Bernstein of Woodward and Bernstein, who broke the whole Deep Throat, Watergate, all that kind of stuff. Um, he actually had an affair with the British ambassador's daughter around this time. And this joke is made in the movie where Michelle Williams pretends to call him and pretends to be the British ambassador's daughter, alluding at that fact. What I find interesting about it is at the time that he had that affair, Bernstein was married to Nora Ephron. Yes, the Nora Ephron. Nora Ephron, who gave us When Harry Met Sally, Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, Mixed Nuts. Like, I just find that bizarre and baffling. Like, sometimes the world just works in really weird ways, and there's like all these weird connections and stuff. I don't know. I think it's cool. Let's get back to Dick. Back to Dick. Let's talk about some more Dick. Uh, the film is directed by a guy named Jay Fleming. Not a huge name, not a big name, but this dude has done a couple of other movies that I really dig. He wrote and directed Dick, but then he also wrote and directed the Stephen Baldwin film Threesome, which I'm a big fan of. And then he's also the guy that's responsible for writing and directing the movie The Craft, which The Craft is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite films from the 90s. Obviously has an amazing cast in that. And like, quick side note to that, the 2020 sequel isn't bad. It's not terrible. But Fleming was only a producer on that one. So anyway, like the guy's done some stuff that I really dig. As I've already mentioned, this movie stars Kirsten Dunst, who a couple of weeks ago we talked about her being in Drop Dead Gorgeous, and I really thought that she hit the trifecta in '99. I really thought the Virgin Suicides came out in 1999. Turns out I was wrong. I guess it just played cans in 1999, and then wasn't actually released in the United States until 2000. So whatever, I was a little off on that. Michelle Williams at this point in 1999 was at the height of Dawson's Creek. This was the only film that she did in 1999. The other major person in this movie that I absolutely love is Dan Hedaya, who plays Richard Nixon in this movie. Honestly, during my rewatch, it's really hard to see him as Richard Nixon just because, like, this dude did so many movies in the 90s that I love. Benny and June, Searching for Bobby Fischer, Maverick, The Usual Suspects, Clueless, A Life Less Ordinary, and then, of course, he was Stephen Doug Butabi's father in A Night at the Roxbury. And that's just like that's just like the real big stuff that he did that I loved. Like he did, a couple of other I'm sorry, he did a lot of other movies, a couple of them that I really like also, but like that just scratches the surface of like how amazing this dude is in dramas or in comedies. Just really an awesome actor. Again, a little difficult for me to see him as Nixon. But I mean, he's fine. He's not bad in any way, but I just feel like he's kind of like over the top acting, like trying to make it too funny. I don't know. Like, not in and again, not in a bad way, just in a weird way. But like, it's just because it's him, and he does a great job at it. And like the rest of this cast is loaded. We have three Saturday Night Live members in the cast. We have Will Ferrell, Jim Brewer, and Anna Gasteyer, all amazing. We have two of the kids in the hall in this, Dave Foley and Bruce McCulloch, both awesome in this movie, or both awesome as comedians, and they're fine in the movie. And then like there's a whole bunch of other awesomeness. We got Terry Garr, we got Ted McGinley, Saul Rubinek is in this movie. French Stewart has a very small part in this movie, and then most importantly, as I mentioned at the top of the episode, Mr. Deadpool himself, Ryan Reynolds, plays Pretty Boy, who ends up becoming like an object of sexual attraction for Kirsten Dunst. Um, in a scene where they end up, going to second base and making out and having a good time that gets interrupted between the two of them. But I had not remembered him being in this movie, so when he popped up, like I don't believe his name is in the opening credits because I didn't remember seeing it there either. When he popped up, is a very pleasant surprise, having just watched Deadpool and Wolverine like a week ago. So, um, in general, this movie is an amazing cast that does a really good job with an attempt at a good script. Like I said, I would have loved to have seen an R-rated version of this movie. So much talent here, a bunch of comedy or comedians that are just really good at what they do. Maybe this was meant to like, maybe it wasn't meant for that like 17 to 20-year old teen group. Like maybe this was meant for 11 to 14-year olds or something like that. Maybe it was aimed for them. Like, but there's a good job with some sexual innuendo throughout the movie. Obviously, they use the word dick a lot and talk about I like dick, I want dick, obviously in reference to Richard Nixon, but you get to say it. Like, I find it funny, but I understand I also have a very childish sense of humor, and maybe that's why I think this movie is kind of funny. Because, like I said, I don't think it's a great movie, but I laughed a lot when I was watching it. And like I said, I have that very immature type of humor that I like, and this film plays into that a lot. There's also a lot of stoner comedy in this movie, which obviously I'm in for that also. Um, I don't know. It's a good movie. I had fun with my rewatch of it. I don't know if I had seen it since the theaters. It was a good time. Had a lot of fun with it. Really enjoyed it. Um, so yeah, I had a good time with Dick. I like Dick. I had fun with Dick. But that's all the Dick I'm going to talk about now because I got a lot of prep to do in 2 days. Because one of the biggest weekends of 1999 is coming up. Not necessarily financially. I'll have to run the number or look at the numbers on it. But I got four movies to talk about on the next episode in 2 days. Four movies, a huge weekend came out. We have The Iron Giant, The Sixth Sense, Mystery Men, and The Thomas Crown Affair, all released on the same day. So that's a lot of rewatching that I need to get done. I will be back in 2 days to talk about all four of those movies.